Assalamualaikum and very good day. My name is Nurhairunnisa binti Kamarudin and I will be presenting my paper which entitled Modeling of Simple Assembly Line Balancing Problem Type 1 with Machine and Workers Constraint. Assembly line balancing problem is a process of balancing assembly tasks to workstation with respect to some objective function. An assembly line balancing problem can be divided into two types, which is a simple assembly line balancing problem and generalized assembly line balancing problem. And for simple assembly line balancing problem, it is a production of a single product in serial line layout on one-sided workstation. And for simple assembly line balancing problem, it can be categorized into different categories, which is 4 categories: type 1, type 2, E, and F. And every type has a different objective function. And for example, simple assembly line balancing problem type 1, the objective is to minimize number of workstation and given is a cycle time. Simple assembly line balancing problem addresses the assignment of tasks to station with one or more optimization criteria while satisfying constraints such as resource constraint. The issue of line balancing with minimum or limited number of resources such as machines and workers has always been a serious problem in industry. Equipment and workers should be assigned to tasks and workstation so that maximum efficiency, maximum usage, and minimum number of workstation can be achieved. This is then will reduce the production cost. In order to model up simple assembly line balancing problem type 1, first the precedence relation or the constraint between tasks need to be known. Then the resource constraint is identified. Every task has its own specific types of machine needed and as well as workers. This data is then transformed into a matrix form. The matrix form is important in transmitting the data into a computational language for optimization or evaluation purpose. In this paper, several assumptions has been made in order to describe and evaluate the problem and for producing mathematical equation. The first objective function for mathematical equation is to minimize the number of workstation for a given cycle time. And it is subject to certain constraints such as assignment constraint, which to ensure that the task is assigned only once, the cycle time constraint, which to ensure that total times in each workstation does not exceed the given cycle time, the precedence relation constraint, which guarantees that the precedence relation among tasks is not violated, and the last one will be workstation constraint, which guarantees that workstation is utilized if the task is assigned to it. And for second mathematical equation will be on the second objective function, which is to minimize number of machine use. It is subject to resource availability constraint. It is ensured that the total number of resources in workstation is not more than the number of available machines. And for the third equation is to minimize the number of workers used in assembly line with restriction that only one worker can be assigned to exactly one workstation depending on his or her skills. Those three objective function is then employed to a single objective by determining the fitness function, which will find the optimal value for each feasible sequence. And after the model is developed, a numerical example is used to explain the objective function in the model. The problem is then evaluated by taking into consideration a few feasible sequences. It is then calculated by using the derived equation for objective function 1, 2, and 3, and the equation for fitness function. Based on the results, it shows that the model is valid in presenting simple assembly line balancing problem type 1 with resource constraint, machine and workers. And the number of machine and workers used in simple assembly line balancing problem type 1 can be optimized as suggested and tested in the proposed model. And for the conclusion, the model is designed by considering three objective functions, and simple assembly line balancing problem with resource constraint will have better performance in optimization based on the numerical example results. And for future research, this model can be tested using algorithm by referring to the solution procedure and validate by using case study on real industry problem on simple assembly line balancing problem with machine and workers constraint. So that's all from me. Thank you.